Ah! 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 Suicide Squad!
Squad.
Spoiler review. Guys, I changed my mind. I hate this movie.
I do too.
I despise it. It's the worst movie ever.
It's my favorite Marvel movie.
Damn, our opinions have really changed since we did our non-spoiler review. No, I still feel the same way about this movie as I did before. If you haven't seen our non-spoiler, I'm Greg John. If you haven't seen our non-spoiler review of Suicide Squad, go check that out. I guess if we gave a basic summary without having a feeling like we're gonna cover the whole thing again. Every capsule around Rotten Tomatoes is correct, positive or negative.
Everything's right.
It's choppy, messy, all over the place, chaotic, but also a lot of fun. Let's get into this. But I want to start off with saying one thing. The line that Will Smith delivers. We're some kind of Suicide Squad. In the trailer, the first trailer, that looked like so cheesy. So horrible. Oh my god, did he really just do the title of the movie thing? In the actual movie, the scene that they do that in, when he says it, it actually doesn't come across that way, where I'm like, oh, yep, he said the title of the movie. It sounded like a natural line read. So Will Smith, good job on that. That's the hardest line of the whole movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it from beginning to end. A lot of people I know complained about the beginning, how there's like two intros to Deadshot and Harley Quinn. Then you get Amanda Waller, then they reintroduce Deadshot and Harley Quinn. But I was actually okay with it, because I liked the scene with Deadshot and Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't about Deadshot and Harley Quinn they're introducing. They were introducing Griggs, Ike Barinholtz's character. That was like one of the main things, was that interaction between them. It wasn't just about Deadshot and Harley Quinn.
Well, yeah, you get to know them as prisoners, and then you get to know them before.
Yeah, and they're just establishing that they're going to be the most focused on people of the Suicide Squad, which is nothing wrong with that. Yeah. And people acted like it was like the big prom and uneven and stuff, but I didn't find it to be this, like, it's just the editing to me again.
It is uneven as it appears on screen, I'll give you. That's not something I necessarily want to blame on, the conception of of the movie.
But it's fun, and I give it credit, because in those first two scenes before Amanda Waller, I was like, hey, I like them already. Yeah. Like, I thought Will Smith, I immediately changed my whole opinion about the idea that he's in this movie. From that one scene.
Like, he's really natural. Like, he feels just like an older, more gruff Will Smith, but he's still the Will Smith you love.
He's like the charming guy who will fuck you up this time.
And he has an edge, but it's believable. Like, he really sells Deadshot, and Margot Robbie really sells Harley Quinn.
And Harley Quinn, when you see her, like, how she's, like, fucking around in her prison cell, and she's trying to lure in Ike Barinholtz, that was a cool moment, because you get a history sense that, like, oh, they've probably done some, like, abusive stuff to Harley since...
Yeah, they've probably been really awful.
He just seems like that pervert prison guard, that guy in Terminator 2 who, like, takes advantage of Sarah Connor. That's who Ike Barinholtz is to me in this movie.
No problem.
When he's on the rooftop showing how he does his job. That way that was done sets it up tonally in a right way for me, where I'm like, this is kind of funny, and this is a different kind of hitman scenario.
Yeah.
Because of the way how he's handling it, and then he does get his one-shot kill. And I thought that shot would have been cooler if there was, like, blood and stuff in it.
Oddly enough,
I
feel like
missing blood.
This movie wants to be rated R, and that's the thing about a lot of PG-13 action movies now, and comic book movies. Like, this movie does have the sort of, like, faceless creature villains after a while that make it so that there's not actual blood. We all know what that looks like, and so you find yourself missing it. That's a point that you made before. It's like, it would make us feel more in touch with the fact that he's a bad guy if we could see the blood.
The moment with him and his daughter, I thought was really nice too, because it didn't seem like some forced, like, really care about Deadshot moment here. The fact that he's a dad. Yeah. The interaction, seemed rather natural in the way it was done. And then Batman shows up, and it kind of reminded me of, like, a CW show where it, like, takes place within the Batman universe.
Yeah.
And then Batman shows up for a second.
Yeah.
Like, oh, Batman's in there! And that was a cool scene. And, like, it really does, the relationship between Deadshot and his daughter is so vital to the story of Deadshot. And especially in that moment, because the only reason he could have shot Batman easily. Yeah. But his daughter saved Batman's life.
That's something I was really happy about with this movie, because those are the kinds of scenes that are easy to just make rote and requisite, and you don't care, because hey, they've always got a daughter or a wife or something, but this movie really sells that, partly in the way it's constructed, because it's important to his story and the choices he makes, but also because of Will Smith's performance.
And Margot Robbie had a very challenging job, I feel. When she's just Dr. Quinzel, it's a different performance. And it has to be. And it has to be still, like, matching something where you could see this was the original source of Harley Quinn.
Well, and when they do the flash forward, or the fantasy, the showing you what you want moment towards the end, when she and Jared Leto are just there as a real couple, that like that's kind of a beautiful moment, and she does have to play those two different sides of the coin.
And I like how they set up her character like it fast, where you know you see that she does get transformed. They show the transformation scene later. You do see their dynamics where she's like stripping. In the animated series, Joker really seems like he doesn't care about Harley Quinn. Really does use her and abuse her. But in this movie, you could tell Joker likes her. You know?
Yeah,
Joker's in love with her, and that was an interesting touch. Dark, psychotic love relationship.
David Ayer's a guy who writes a lot of crime stuff, and I liked Crime Boss and his crazy girlfriend Joker. You know, a lot of people are complaining about the scene where he like offers her to Common, but it seems like they're both into that in a way that seems like it suits the Joker, because it's all about seeing what this guy's gonna do under a weird situation.
I did like that moment because it felt like he was testing Common.
Yeah, I'm like, this is icky and it's supposed to be icky. I actually thought that was a cool scene if I'm reading it the right way.
Yeah, I do wish Joker got like that's one of his few scenes where he gets time to showcase some of his acting, like his real acting abilities.
Those are the longer Joker scenes.
Yeah, I like seeing the Joker that they had in here, where he's kind of. You know, he is like the clown prince of the underworld.
Yeah.
You know, he feels like a gangster.
Coked out.
Yeah, it feels like a punk rock, coked out, meth addict kind of gangster, you know?
Yeah, and he's got the grill and stuff. Like, he looks freaky and imposing in a crime boss kind of way. And like the crime side of Gotham, of the DC universe, is something distinct, and I thought they brought that back with this.
And what a lot of people are talking about too is when Harley gets rescued by Batman, and then he like gives her CPR, but what was weird to me is, like, I know he was giving her CPR, then Harley starts kissing him. It looked like Batman was kissing her.
Okay, good. I'm glad. I was like, that's a really forceful, like...
And the first time he does it, I was like, I thought he was just kissing her. I didn't think he was actually giving her CPR.
You don't gotta do the CPR intensely. She's not awake.
I do like that moment, though, where she's attacking him underwater, then he just does, like, this underwater punch to her face, and she knocks out. And Captain Boomerang, the first few seconds you get a Captain Boomerang, I was sold on Jai Courtney's whole mannerisms. I like that when they cut to the characters, they have like those quick little character descriptions around the screen.
Yeah, I did enjoy
Possible alcoholic, psychotic. I'm a fan of the Flash series. I'm a big fan of that show. So seeing Flash show up like this, I thought was a way better Flash cameo than the one in Batman v Superman.
Yeah.
It was fun. You get Flash's personality in there.
The cameos weren't 100% natural for me, but they did get closer to feeling like the DCEU is kind of a big world, and these characters dip in and
cameos felt more fun, too.
Yeah, they're a lot better than just reading some emails. Yeah. Like, I'll give them that. By the end of that little moment with the Flash, I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. Hey, Captain Boomerang, man, Jai Courtney, I wish they gave him more to do, because it's the first time I've been thrilled to see him.
That's the one problem with Captain Boomerang in this film, is that he's funny, he's really entertaining, but he's overall very unnecessary to the Suicide Squad.
A lot, and that's the thing that I think gets lost in the crazy... Whatever happened with the editing, that all gets lost. Because a lot of characters end up feeling like they were supposed to be more important, or they were supposed to have more time to grow a relationship together.
Because Captain Boomerang doesn't get to show off anything that makes him unique. You get to see his unique personality. His boomerang skills don't really get to be at play here. There's one moment towards the end where they're like attached to a camera or something, where he like throws the boomerang, but then that's it.
And that's late in the movie, so you're like, oh, I guess they're gonna finally, when it's convenient, sort of explain what he might have to do. Because especially in that last fight, it seems like they mostly have to protect him.
And it was cool of how they made Batman cameo. Because, you know, like in the mid-credit scene, you see that you got Bruce Wayne here, he's talking to Amanda Waller. But before that, anytime you saw Batman, he was just Batman. Then no one knew him as Bruce Wayne. Yeah. So it was cool to have that, like, Batman kind of mystique about him. That's what I really liked about what they did with Batman. Because, sure, his cameos, they're just cameos, but they were done in a way where you kind of do see him through the image of the villains, of how they would view Batman.
Yeah, that is a cool side of the coin to see that from. Does she know that he's Batman?
Who?
She must.
Waller?
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't why she's giving him like the reports
just
and shit?
Absolutely sure.
Killer Croc in this movie. I know that other than the animated series, he's not the most intelligible guy. I put a lot of the issues of this film on the editing, But I feel like script had a lot to do with his character too.
There are some things I think, the script could have gotten better, and I never got the sense that Killer Croc was supposed to do more, and I got the sense for a lot of other characters.
Because they hint at Killer Croc like he left Gotham because he got pushed out of Gotham by Batman. I thought it would have been cool to get like a cool Batman Killer Croc.
That would have
been really sweet. But
next one.
His whole captured moment and everything is not really that cool. And then throughout the whole movie, he doesn't talk. His powers, because he has like super strength and stuff.
Yeah.
And they don't really get shown off that much. His reptile skills of being able to breathe underwater and everything. That comes in very late towards the film.
Yeah.
And prior to that moment, I was like, Killer Croc seems very unnecessary. See, the thing with Killer Croc and Captain Boomerang, they seem like they could have just been replaced by soldiers. That was one of my problems with this film.
Like, you're glad they're there because they're cool and we want to see them, but they don't add a whole lot else.
There's nothing unique about them to the point that serves value like, yeah, we need this Suicide Squad. It really just seemed like they needed Deadshot.
Yeah.
El Diablo. Like, that was...
Deadshot, Harley Quinn, and then El Diablo becomes important later. And see, I almost feel like everybody was supposed to be introduced up front except maybe El Diablo.
Yeah.
So we could go, why do we not know this guy?
Yeah.
I really do get the sense that they were supposed to expound on more of these characters, and then they just kind of shoved them around and made it sort of clear that it's just Deadshot and Harley Quinn.
And I think what they did with El Diablo was a lot of fun, actually. Like they set up that, he had this dark past and he won't be that guy anymore. One issue with that is you do make El Diablo a good guy at that moment. You hint that he had a darker past. You don't find out till that bar scene that, like, oh, here's the really fucked up thing that he did.
Which is a great scene.
It's a great scene, but, like, you do set him up as a guy, as a person who is a good guy now, who will only fight for when it's something right,
Yeah, you do. Because, that's where you meet him is, he's like, I don't do that anymore, peace.
I like the effects. Like, I love the fire effects that they do.
Yeah.
When he becomes, like, Super Diablo, whatever the fuck that was at
Whenever,
the end.
he becomes that hell creature.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That was cool. I was a little bit like, huh? Like, it took me a second to swallow that, but it is cool.
I feel like it would have worked really well, too, if they took, like, the witchcraft stuff and, like, that El Diablo kind of moment and Enchantress's brother, was it Incubus or something? Like, that stuff seemed tonally out of place a lot of the time because...
And out of place in the plot, too.
Yeah, I feel like it could have been spread out. If it was spread out more throughout, like, the vibe of it and the themes of them spread out more. Because whenever it cut to them, it was like, oh, this is a totally different genre of a film now.
Well, and that's where the plot gets confusing because I can't for the life of me remember why she was assembling... Is she just assembling the Suicide Squad to go get metahumans or whatever and bring them in?
That's what's confusing, is because the idea that's set up, she's saying that, like, what if the next Superman decides to do something horrible? So they need metahumans to fight against, like, other metahumans. No one on the Suicide Squad is really metahuman except for Diablo.
Yeah.
And that's about, I guess, Killer Croc, sort of.
He's
technically
I
metahuman,
guess.
yeah. But everyone, Deadshot, Harley Quinn, Slipknot even. And Slipknot, what a wasted cameo that was.
If you're a Slipknot fan,
that was probably a big that was like the Johnny Cage moment in Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Like, oh, this guy didn't get to do anything. He just gets
literally
killed.
is here to prove that no one's fucking right.
Yeah. So the stuff with Enchantress was cool. I like the intro that they had with Enchantress and how she became Enchantress. The effects were really creepy and neat. And but the stuff with her brother was just like, I don't know how to put it. It was a little too much.
Well, she grabbed a face, just like a random dude, and then turned him into a big robot that looks kind of like that other robot from a lot of other superhero movies.
What I was telling John when we were walking out was, like, I really feel like editing could have, in terms of, like, just placement of scenes, could have helped this movie out a lot. Because by the time that Enchantress stuff starts getting fucking wacko, it's pretty late into the film where it tonally is, like, little jarring.
And when it becomes a major problem, the movie's a jumble enough that you start to wonder if it makes any sense that this is their mission now. It forces you to kind of catch yourself and reconfigure the plot in your mind. And yeah, it's like, I like the first half of the Enchantress story and not really the second half. And that's a complaint that I would give to the script. It's like, we've seen the whole human beings suck, let's create a machine to kill all of them and rule the world. I'm like, I'm so tired. And the sky portal, like, it's always it's always a sky portal now, and I'm like, don't do the sky portal anymore.
See, what I thought would have been really cool, honestly, if I were to like help out with editing for this film.
Yeah.
There's a scene where they're all in the helicopter. The Suicide Squad's been assembled. Katana's is on the team now too. And then when they're flying into the city, you know, Harley Quinn has that line like, "Oh, look at the pretty lights and stuff."
Yeah.
And then you see like it's chaos and destruction.
Yeah.
But that's a Harley Quinn line. And then the plane gets hit. They crash. And then I thought that would have been a cool opening scene, like that whole segment right there. Plane crashes. Then it cuts to 1 week earlier, and that's when it's the Amanda Waller, you know, like talking at the dinner. Yeah,
that'd be perfect.
That would have been perfect because it would have tonally set us up for something major supernatural happening that they have to go up against, as opposed to this wasn't kind of the world that I was prepared for. You know?
I feel like the first trailer that came out was the trailer for the actual David Ayer movie. It looked like all those scenes were supposed to go on a little bit longer, you know?
See, the thing that I feel like where David Ayer probably lacked in terms of writing is the supernatural stuff. Because, you know, like what David Ayer deals with is like raw, real grit LA killers and stuff.
Yeah, and when
like,
they're going places with Flag and all that, and when they're in prison and when they're on their way, like that shit's awesome.
Yeah, that's
like,
great. Like the dialogue, I think that's why he writes all the human characters very well. El Diablo was suppressing his powers for most of the movie, and I think he writes him really well too. So he writes like the criminal characters well, but when it comes to the Enchantress character, her brother, and those things, it's like that's just not David Ayer's thing.
Yeah, that felt really like, oof, you watched a couple comic book movies.
Yeah. If people have been saying it kind of feels like it's out of Ghostbusters a little bit, and it kind of does.
Because the fucking Sky Portal.
Yeah, the Sky Portal. Yeah.
Like, humans suck, I'm gonna kill the world.
Yeah. You know what I really like, though, are those homage moments. You know what? I fucking love that they brought in here, like that shot where you quickly see Arkham Asylum, and like the title, and it's like neon lights. Arkham Asylum.
Yeah,
The Joker is. And then they have that moment where it's all black, but then Harley's dressed up in her classic Harley Quinn outfit.
Yeah.
And Joker's in his suit. Like that, they brought that to life. That moment.
It is really gratifying.
And it is like, whoa! It does feel like a fan fiction moment at that time.
It does, and at first, see, I don't know. I'd like to see it again because I don't know if those moments to me fully blend in with the rest of the movie. However, they are. I know how iconic those images are. I've seen those, you know, those paintings. It's really cool to see them. You know, it's really cool when they do the whole Joker and Harley, you know, jumping into the vat thing. Like
that was a great scene.
Yeah, it is.
That was well acted and well done. And Harley and man, Margot. Everyone gives credit to Margot Robbie a lot for her portrayal of Harley Quinn, and you know, like she gets the animated personality down perfectly with just the right moments of human touchness, like. I liked how after Joker's plan fails and then she's still alive, that she's crying, but the second the squad shows up, she's like, nope, not going to show them that I'm sad, you know? Because that was the one time we can see Harley be a little emotional without it being like, that's not Harley Quinn, you know?
Well, and I felt like she did a good job of that, of having a lot of real moments in a bunch of very different moods.
Yeah.
Know? Like, because even the things Harley says that contradict, you still kind of believe them all. But she believes them all at the time. That's another thing that I wish had kind of been more fleshed out about this movie is by the time they get to the end and they care about each other for some reason. Like,
yeah, because they've only spent a few hours together.
Yeah, and
like it's not even been a day.
And they've only gotten one time to just sit and be together and chat.
I thought Harley Quinn's moment of saying like, "Don't fuck with my friends," or whatever she says to Enchantress. I thought that was more believable than El Diablo being like, I already lost one family.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lose. Like, you consider these guys family already?
David Ayer seems like an ensemble guy. And I feel like they should have really put some more attention on building them as an ensemble.
Yeah.
Because this movie kind of gets to it it introduces people and then it's like, we're moving and we're going to fight a lot of people and the soldier guys are going to remind us that, these guys are bad guys.
Because that's when I felt like it was going too much for a heroic sense.
Yeah.
Instead of just, I felt like it would have been fine if it ended on a note of, we all respect each other now.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah,
like,
not like, we're family and we're sticking together
I
forever.
love it.
Yeah, like, it was cheesy and shit. And in the moment, like, I was aware, but I was still rolling with it when I was like watching the film.
You want it, so it's okay. Like it's still fun to see, but you're totally where you're like, this movie hasn't earned this yet.
But there are moments that they handle well, like when she's still alive after all that. The thing that saves it is Will Smith's line right when he sees her. How the hell are you not dead?
How the hell are you not dead?
Yeah. It's a thought that the audience has, and he says it, you know, and like I like that awareness kind of comedy.
Yeah. I think that's a nice thing they've borrowed from. I think Deadpool's helped us with that even too, and it makes that moment more smooth. It's like we're all thinking it, and the movie acknowledged it, so it's kind of okay.
And Will Smith does get some great scenes in it. Like, I love how he does become the leader of the Suicide Squad because it's done in a natural way. When the helicopter first crashes, Will Smith is talking with Harley Quinn, and they're all trying to figure out, and the rest of the squad is like, how the fuck do we get out of here? They're just going to kill us by the end. But the way how Deadshot gets lured in, because when he sees, like, those are... Wait, someone from Collider in the review called them, like, the putty villains from this... Power Rangers.
Yeah, I mean...
And that's kind of what they are, because they're like, what are these things?
They're cool, but yeah, you never quite get what they are. They're just these kind of, like, black globular beings with these, like, spores on their heads.
And that's kind of what makes when the Doctor comes back after they destroy Enchantress or whatever, get rid of her, kind of disappointing, because all these henchmen are... human beings, that Enchantress put under their control, and then they're just like, fuck it, we're gonna kill
the shit.
Yeah, we're gonna slice their heads in half and shit. And then Enchantress, when she loses the battle, I like that Rick Flag lost. I thought that was a cool choice that he lost, that she's not gonna come back. And because this guy's been in like a dark, secretive world, and this relationship has not been really beneficial for him. Yet he's like still in love with her, and I thought that would have been a great sense of loss. But then when she comes back, I'm like, you kind of heroed out here a little bit too much.
That's the thing I really wish Hollywood would stop doing. Because especially when he chooses to crush the heart, like, they played that, or at least he played that in a way that felt really natural to me, because they could have milked that for like the suspense and like a lot of staring back and forth, but like, he goes for it the way it seems like that character would, and then to bring her back is like, we just missed out on an opportunity for this character to get so much more interesting. Like, that would be closure in a weird way, because he knew what he was doing, and he did her wish, you know? He went for Enchantress.
And I wouldn't mind if you brought Enchantress back later down the road, but for this story, I felt like, let her die. For Rick Flag's character effect. Let her die. That's what I wanted.
Because also, just from a movie standpoint, like, if you leave us at least one thing that tugs our heartstring a little bit, that makes your movie more memorable. You know?
Exactly.
If you felt happy because Will Smith gets to at least have a relationship with his daughter again, you can also feel kind of bad that Rick Flag, like, if we're going to do this again, I wonder how Rick's doing. This movie doesn't seem like it's concerned with just coddling you and making you happy all the time.
I like Deadshot and Rick Flag when they became friends by the end.
Yeah, that was the most believable.
Not like friends, but there's a level of respect by the end. Like a strong level of understanding and respect.
Because they both get moments to prove themselves.
Yeah, because that moment where like he's with his daughter is a great scene, and I love how his daughter just accepted the fact that Deadshot is her dad is just a killer. When the guys come in to like cuff him up like on these chains, he's like, whoa, what do you think? I like how Rick Flag stops them.
Yeah.
And Rick Flag, Joel Kinnaman, I thought was a great like addition to this, because he's like the one character who's not that advertised on this trailer. And I think he's a great addition to the team.
He's very natural. Yeah, he feels like an actual guy.
And I felt like all the other soldiers should have gotten killed off, except for him. That was one of my things that I was kind of like bothered by this movie, was the Suicide Squad, not until the very end, gotta just be the Suicide Squad when they're taking on Enchantress. Through most of the movie, the Suicide Squad has all these other soldiers backing them up as well.
Yeah.
And these soldiers seem like, you just get like a couple more soldiers in there, you take out Boomerang and Killer Croc, and they'll probably be more effective than having Boomerang and Killer Croc in there.
Yeah. It does seem like this movie only lets them all off the leash the one time. Granted, it's not the same thing, but if you watch like the Avengers, like that's building a team of people who don't want to be on a team, but it lets them off the leash periodically to see how they all do together this time.
Yeah.
And this movie doesn't, at least in this form, doesn't really have that. It's them versus the operative guys they're with for most of it, until finally at the end the situation is so huge that they kind of have to work together.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just, it makes for a less satisfying team up, which is...
And I did like the music, that, the soundtracks that David Ayer chose for this movie. I thought sometimes the music was a little cooler than the actual scene at hand.
Well, those were the times, because the thing is, I think the music's really cool, and using popular songs I thought it worked half the time.
House of the Rising Sun at the beginning. I was like, this is cool, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, that felt like something that was intentional, but it seemed like there were at least a good handful of times where I felt like this scene probably had a score over it first, and then they took it out and put a cool song in here. Like,
because sometimes the cool songs don't work.
Yeah.
The one that really stood out to me that didn't work was the Eminem one.
Yeah.
And specifically because this movie is PG-13.
Yeah.
And you're taking this Without Me song that is very vulgar and crude and offensive, and then they edited it in a bad way. They edited the song badly. It just doesn't flow.
If you know the structure, you're immediately distracted. Like,
I think if you don't know the structure, you would be like, "There's something off about this song." Like, the way it's like edited around the song. It's not like they just bleep out a cuss word or two.
Yeah,
it's like they take segments and they switch them around and stuff.
That's the thing that always pulls me out of movies, is whenever they use a popular song and they restructure it, like, even if I haven't heard it, I can usually tell that that's not where the pieces were supposed to go.
Well, Eminem song belongs in a hard R movie.
And this movie feels like it really wants to be.
No, and that's the thing that sucks, is that it's like, because you got a character like Katana, and Katana gets her cool flashback moment. I like her story. Husband died with the sword that she carries.
We don't get to know her much, but I really liked what we got.
Yeah, and she's fucking awesome in her skills and stuff.
Never brushes
But when
away.
you got a girl like slicing throats and stabbing people with a sword, you need some blood and shit.
We need some blood and
especially
shit,
in this day and age.
Yeah, I'm not all about gritty, hard R comic book movies, but this movie seemed like to fulfill its true spirit, that's kind of what you needed.
No, if you got, I really feel like it would have been okay, and I feel like David Ayers, all of his films, including his most of the screenplays he's written, are rated R.
Yeah.
Except for like Fast and the Fury, the first one.
That was about family.
I like the moments we got with Jared Leto, but it's not enough for me to decide whether or not I really like him as the Joker.
Yeah, he stuck with me, but I don't know how I feel, if I think his performance is great or not.
Because it's kind of like he gets more screen time than Batman in this movie. But imagine if that was the first time we're seeing Batman introduced in the DC Cinematic Universe. We'd be like, he's a cool Batman.
Yeah.
Not enough, though, to know if he's going to really, kill it as Batman.
Well, that's another editing thing, is, like, the first couple times we see Joker are longer scenes where we really get to watch him.
Yeah.
It seems like Jared Leto's Joker is a Joker that you need to watch for a minute or two to really see how he behaves. And so when he's in shorter scenes, he just kind of comes across weird.
Yeah.
It just leaves you going, don't just jump ahead so quick. And because he kind of just pops into the rest of the movie, like, it's kind of a treat, but he does feel sort of tacked on.
Yeah, he feels like a tacked on marketing ploy for the film, because most people don't know these other characters, and Harley Quinn was really exciting because you're like, oh, Joker's going to be in it too.
He's like, as it is here, it feels like they clearly put a lot of effort into the Joker, but it doesn't feel necessary.
No, it doesn't. And it's like his whole mission is not that necessary.
Yeah.
Actually, it's not necessary at all.
Not necessary at all.
Because by the time he fulfills his mission, which is a cool moment, like, oh, we hijacked Amanda Waller's helicopter. See, like, one thing with this is, like, why do people trust the Joker? Like, why do people follow this guy?
Yeah.
You know, like, that's something that Dark Knight does really well, and Tim Burton's Batman does really well. It's like, you see this guy's a criminal fucking genius.
Yeah.
And why people will follow him. I was like, okay, he got out of Arkham. Cool. Why are people, like, really under the... Like, how is he the clown prince of crime? Just because he's the Joker? Or is he literally, like, a mastermind criminal? He just seems like an insane guy who likes to hijack shit and shoot him up and stuff, you know?
Yeah, it's weird. It's like
he doesn't seem like he does any clever planning.
He looks and he acts like a kingpin of some kind, but the movie never gives you anything to support that.
Exactly. That was my issue with it. And then by the time he rescues Harley Quinn, it's like lasts for like 30 seconds. Deadshot's like, okay, I'll shoot her, bitch dead. Nah, she ain't dead. I'm not gonna kill her, which is cool. But then the plane gets hit, they crash, she thinks Joker's dead.
Never see him again.
And then she just goes back to the Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait, we just kept cutting back to Joker periodically for him going, I need to get Harley back. He gets Harley back for 30 seconds, and then the movie just carries on without him.
Yeah, and that's what makes...
This doesn't change anything. Let's just keep the movie going.
And that's what's frustrating about trailers, because, like, you see that image, and I don't know if I'm just misinterpreting something, but, like, it looks like they have, like, a burned-up Joker somewhere in that trailer, and I know people have talked about it because it's something that happens in the comics, I believe. So the helicopter goes down, and I was fully expecting another portion of this movie where he finally collides with the Suicide Squad, but he just kind of disappears, and then you're like, why was this? This seems like an annoying thing that happened in their day.
I did like how they all got what they wanted in the end, except for Boomerang. Just get started. But Killer Croc, it was a nice touch. Like, I like Killer Croc's moment where Amanda Waller, they rescue her. Everyone's like, "What a fucking bitch!" Like, they're all thinking it, but Killer Croc finally says something. I like her. Like, that was funny. And then he gets his television, so he can watch MTV.
You can watch BET. Yeah.
BET. And then Harley Quinn gets her coffee machine.
Yeah, she gets her espresso machine.
Like, I like how they ask for like stupid things, and they got them, and they're satisfied with it.
Yeah.
And Deadshot asked for like the big thing, and he gets it. Yeah, fuck, Bruce Wayne's big credit scene.
Oh yeah, where he speaks.
People really like it. I don't. I was like, I thought he had this information.
Yeah, I was like, we watched all those emails. Like, I thought he would have been on this.
Yeah, I thought Lex Luthor had the information. Lex would steal the information from Amanda Waller's team or something.
I thought it was alright. It was kind of underwhelming.
Yeah, it was underwhelming, and it was just like, oh yeah, I know you guys are doing Justice League. You really released a trailer. You don't need to remind me that.
There are a couple cool questions that it does raise up. I mean, I am curious about his relationship with Amanda Waller now and how deep that runs, but I almost would have liked something that hints at more Suicide Squad than something that just hints at Justice League.
Yeah. You know, I found that Zack Snyder directed that scene with Flash.
Did he really?
Yeah. Did something right.
Cool. Yeah.
All right, guys, we're finally done talking about Suicide Squad. I don't want to talk about it anymore for the rest of my life.
Ever.
If you're new to this channel, subscribe today, become a reject. John Jerry is his Twitter and Instagram. Facebook.com/Bloomhouse, social media manager there, and Facebook.com/TheRealRejects. You want pizza?
I kind of wanted In-N-Out.
I had In-N-Out last night.
Oh.
Please, can we get pizza?
Alright.
Is there a place to get pizza? Didn't you just get charged like $100?
$100.
Some identity fraud.
$100. 2 separate purchases equaling $100 at Domino's Pizza.
Someone jacks your card and orders
I'm
Domino's.
I'm throwing a pizza party, kids. Invite your friends.
What Killer Croc would do?
Stole some dude's debit card information, and then we're gonna spend $200 on tickets.
Is your joke done?
Yeah, it's
Can I cut the camera?
I thought you already cut it.
All right.